This video is about how to install a micro USB charging port for a Kindle Fire SR043KL. The tools I used was a high-speed rotary tool with a cutoff wheel, a stone cutoff wheel, and pointed nose pliers, and a loop to check my work. The pennies in it to show perspective, to show you how small this micro USB charging port really is. I checked out the other videos on YouTube about installing, and the problem I had with the installation was that I couldn't see the terminals for soldering. Oh yes, of course you'll also need a soldering iron or a soldering gun if you have a fine tip for it. As you can see, there's shielding on the back which prevents you from soldering the terminals. So what you can do is take your pointed nose pliers and just grab the back of it and just kind of wiggle it until it falls off. Then, just so that you don't have to solder these side pieces either on this shielding, also grab that and just wiggle it off, twist it until these fall off too on both sides. So once you have the back shielding off here and the side tips taken off here and here, then you don't have to solder the sides, and you don't have this back plate blocking you from soldering the terminals that are underneath. Then after that, I noticed that in soldering, see these very fine things, they're only like approximately a half a millimeter apart. And a half a millimeter apart is too fine for soldering for most people, because you solder to this terminal here and you're trying to solder just this one here, and the solder just bridges the gap between here and here because it's only about half a millimeter apart. So what I did was I also took off all of these little terminals between the outside terminals, because all you really need for a charging port is this outside terminal soldered and this outside terminal soldered, because those are the power the power terminals. One's the positive and the other one's the negative. So if you can just get rid of the 3 pins between the 2 outer pins here and here, then you'll have actually a possible time of soldering instead of an impossible time of soldering. So I took the high-speed Dremel and I took out the 3 terminals in the center. Now you have to be careful when you're taking out the terminals in the center. As you can see, this is a very fine blade, but it's still easy to take off, this terminal or that terminal while you're trying to just take these terminals out between them. And but if you're successful, you'd get those out of there without breaking off the edge. If you're unsuccessful, you'll end up with just one terminal, and you won't have the other terminal for soldering to. So once you've taken off the back shielding so that you can access the terminals and the 2 side things, you can do with a Dremel or pliers. But the pins, it seems like you have to Dremel them because they're just so small, and the pliers don't take them back far enough. So it seems like you just have to Dremel or high-speed rotary tool between these 2 terminals. Eventually you're left with just 2 terminals that you can solder to, and that made it possible for me, and I'll bet it will make it possible for you.